same 11 tonight, with particular spotlight on centre-back Malky Mackay, who starts a Premier game for only the 4th time. 9 Scots and 2 foreign forwards, Van Hooijdonk from Holland and the German Andreas Thom.
And 2 different formations we'll see tonight. And 1 or 2 things we can look from this Celtic formation. I've got them at 4-4-2 there. But watch for Phil O'Donnell, because he's the one central midfield player that I think can get past the front 2. When he does that, watch for John Collins just tucking into the midfield alongside Paul McStay. Now when they do that, if they can get the ball to McStay, if they can get the ball to Collins in those areas, those 2 are certainly to get the ability to pass their way through Rangers and cause problems. When Collins goes in there, look for Tosh McKinley coming down on the left-hand side, giving them width on the outside. They've got natural width with Simon Donnelly on the right, so they've no problem there. Here Van Hooijdonk will play the front row, but Tom drops off. He'll drop off there. He'll drop off on the right-hand side. He'll drop off deep. Just wander about, try and get himself on the ball.
7-0 on Saturday, and Walter Smith names the same side, though he was tempted to include Alec Cleland to give the team more natural balance on the right. With Petric, Solenko and Laudrup, Rangers a little more continental than Celtic, not to mention the one England international involved tonight who's achieved his usual prominence in the huge publicity prior to this eagerly awaited match.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about the 3 at the back, the centre-backs there, and I think there might be a big onus on them tonight. When I look at that Rangers set, I see people who want to go forward, people on wide. Charlie Miller wants to go forward, Gascoigne wants to go forward, Laudrup wants to go forward. There's a grave danger that they may leave the back 3 a little bit exposed at times, so perhaps someone has to be a little bit disciplined. When I talked about Collins and McStay's passing, I think for Rangers we've got 2, and if they can get the ball to Gascoigne, if they can get the ball to Laudrup, those are 2 players who, maybe not so much with their passing, but with their ability to run with the ball. Run, commit and beat players can cause problems. Brian Laudrup, you never know where he's going to end up. He'll end up right, he'll end up left, any side that he wants, and with Solenko and Jury in good goal-scoring form, this is a threatening-looking Rangers side.
Well, the rain is falling heavily. It's been a mild day in Glasgow, a dry day until about an hour before the kickoff. So there's another element to the evening.
Wouldn't be the same, the New Year's game, Martin, if it wasn't pouring with rain in Glasgow. There would be something missing.
It is crunch time, you feel, at Celtic Park. The 2 great Glasgow rivals, both unbeaten in the league since September. Celtic with a couple of games in hand. Rangers with this 8-point lead that they want so much to stretch to 11.
I think the one thing that doesn't worry me about the game, because teams can never play for draws. I don't think a draw is a bad result for either team. I think Rangers would be fairly happy to come here, pick up a point, and Celtic would believe that even a point still keeps them in touch, means that they're only, if they won the 2 games in hand, would only still be 2 points behind Rangers, with a lot of football still to be played. And I just hope that the sides don't come in with that negative thought.
Well, that wonderful north stand on the far side to our cameras is a monument to the modernisation at Celtic. Not just modernising the facilities, but you feel there's a more modern attitude behind the rebuilding. Celtic accused for years of living with their heads in the sand, but they're trying to be progressive and reach the standards that have been set so spectacularly across town at Ibrox.
Not a bad start. It's my first live viewing of that lovely stand over there. It really is huge. And if they can take that all the way around, it will make what we know here in Glasgow as Parkhead, it will make it a wonderful stadium.
Well, it hasn't brought Celtic a great deal of luck in the 2 Old Firm games that have been played here since the stand was open. Rangers came here and won in the League Cup. They also won the opening Old Firm encounter in the league this season. Well, they're calling this the most important Old Firm derby for years. The 2 captains of Been through this plenty of times before. Richard Goff of Rangers, Paul McStay of Celtic. Here they come. Well, the fans here speak for themselves. It needs no extra comment from me. Amazing atmosphere. It's a fixture that speaks for itself. Celtic against Rangers. But there will be a sorrowful note struck before the kick-off, because 25 years ago, that New Year, the Ibrox disaster in which 66 football fans lost their lives. The Celtic Chief Executive and Managing Director Fergus McCann and the two managers will announce a minute's silence in memory of those who died 25 years ago. Well, the passion will be put on hold for a moment as Les Mottram, tonight's referee, calls the players to line up as for the kick-off, and then there will be the address here from Fergus McCann.
Please give me for women. Thank you. Thank you. This is Fergus McCann speaking. With me is Tommy Burns, manager of Celtic, and Walter Smith, manager of Rangers. Will you please stand? Your attention, please. I ask for your 25 years ago, after this same match, please be silent. Thank you. 25 years ago, after the same 66 people tragically died disaster at Ibrox Stadium, I am now asking you to join Walter, Tommy and I, along with the players, in a mark of respect to the memory of those who died. Please stand in silence for 1 minute before the referee's whistle.
Rangers to kick off. It's been the deepest divide in British football for more than 100 years. So often they've met as the top two in the table, but not often enough recently for Celtic, who are desperate to crack this fantastic run of championships for their fiercest rivals. McLaren. Patrick trying to be calm.
Not an easy thing to do in the opening 10-15 minutes of an Old Firm match. Put your foot in it.
Gascoigne trying to run from deep. Also a difficult thing to do in the opening moments of a match of this intensity. And John Collins is hurt. Briefly. Gascoigne's header. Celtic were holding and one or two arms up for offside against Solenko. The ball didn't get that far forward. It's forward now for the home side with Van Hooijdonk. McStay, rather brushing Goff aside. Playing behind the Dutchman. O'Donnell's foul. Followed by more of the same from Boyd.
I think what's good about the referees, Mark, they're so experienced in these ties that normally you'd expect a booking very early in the game, but they know, I think, that everyone's got to settle down.
So 8 points the difference, 11, and the rest will probably be waving Rangers goodbye as they would be expected to steam on towards another title. Celtic have a greater cutting edge about them this season. They've won 7 more games than at this stage a year ago when they were really the draw specialists. Played forward by Ferguson, and the flag was up.
The one thing that the three centre-backs that Rangers have, well, built this season on, I've got to be careful about. Phil O'Donnell's got a great engine in the centre of midfield. He's a lad that really loves to run forward without the ball, and one of them has got to be aware of that man's running.
McNamara headed away by McLaren. We'll talk about Celtic doing better this season. Rangers, believe it or not, are 6 points up on their total after the same number of games a year ago, and traditionally they come strong over the second half of the season. The best start that Walter Smith can remember as a manager. Here's Collins. Tosh McKinley at left back doing well to get past Ferguson. And Petric, but he carried it just too far.
Well, that was the area that Walter Smith was toying with, I'm sure, of changing. That's Ian Ferguson in this right-back area. He had got Alec Cleland, who's substitute tonight. But Ian Ferguson's a great competitor. I'm not so sure how good he is as a tackler, as a defender. And perhaps Gordon Petric just might have a bit of a job on in this right-hand side if Tosh McKinley continues to skip by him as he did then.
McKinley's header. Made a late surge into the international ranks this season, Tosh McKinley, having joined Celtic and increased his profile in doing so. Well, the New Year derby has been something a nightmare for Celtic followers in recent times. They haven't won one since 1988, the last championship year. Kept a run of Rangers victories in this fixture, which was played at Ibrox at this time last year, finished 1-1. It was crackling with atmosphere and attacking invention, as more and more of the matches are these days. It's That was a good touch by Van Hooijdonk. Tom was flagged offside, and as Andy says, it was close.
McLaren had dropped off. See in the middle of the picture, he is just off. About a yard off, but it's a very tight one.
Petric, who very nearly joined Celtic from Dundee United. Van Hooijdonk tries the shot, and it was a skimmer, and it needed stopping. And Andy Gorham wasn't caught out.
I'm not so sure whether Rangers are being brave or foolish. Shelley in an Old Firm match, even in the defensive third, they're looking to pass balls in, as he did to Charlie Miller. Really, a hopeless pass into him. He's back to play. He was hounded out of it very quickly. And Celtic were able to get a shot in by Hooijdonk. He hit it really well.
Here's Laudrup, fed by Solenko. Corner to Rangers. In the section of the ground where the Rangers fans are gathered, around 4,000 of them. Petric has come up, and Goff as well. It's Richard Goff who's beaten to it. Well, McStay was indicating to the referee that he didn't intend to bring Solenko down, but bring him down he certainly did.
Well, I think it was a bit theatrical from Oleg Solenko.
McNamara's header. Van Hooijdonk. Celtic have another player hurt. It's Donnelly, I think, who's in need of attention. But Les Motrin lets the game go on, and Celtic aren't bashful in that respect. Tom at the far post.
Well, that's the threat. This is the area where Celtic should exploit. Ian Ferguson attracted infield again. You can see how far infield Ferguson is. He can't get out to. Toss McGinley creates a great ball, and that's a wonderful cross. I think Andres Tom will be a little disappointed that he hasn't made Andy Gorham do a bit of work. The cross deserved a better header, and I think we'll see McKinley come into that area more and more. Certainly as he's on the side with his manager and his coach Billy Starker, I'm sure they'll be saying to him, you've got to get down there, it'll be there for you.
Simon Donnelly, Celtic player. His father was on the books of Rangers for a while. Might be an interesting family tonight watching. Solenko. Here's McKinley. Petric. Gascoigne making a little bit of room for himself where there seemed to be very little. Deciding not to take the throw.
Just a little bit right-sided at the moment, Rangers. So often I've looked up when they've got the ball on this right side, and both Laudrup on that left side with David Robertson, and acres of space if someone could just look up and change the play quickly.
Nicely done by Collins. Tom chasing. McLaren gets across in front of him, used his body well to make sure he got the ball. Haven't seen too much of Gordon Durie so far, who's been in exceptional form, his best spell since he returned to Scotland from Tottenham. 4 of the 7 goals past Jim Leighton and Hibbs. Last time out for Rangers. Celtic just bursting to play. 2.5 weeks sidelined because of the wintry weather up here over the holiday period. We found it hard at times to find training venues. McStay. McKinley again setting off down the left. Collins takes over and looks the other way. Donnelly, O'Donnell, McNamara on the right side, not the right kind of cross. McLaren got the ball stuck under a foot just for a second. Not the longest clearance from Robertson.
There's a pity about the cross coming in from the right, because the rest of the move was one to enjoy. It was a super patient build-up from Celtic. When they had the chance to deliver, well, the cross wasn't a great one.
Here's Boyd advancing. The other number 2 is Ian Ferguson. McStay. Play with Andres Tom. Stay forging on himself. O'Donnell's in there, a midfield man with an eye for goal. Laudrup. He's just getting back to his best after a couple of months out earlier in the season with an ankle problem.
That's that ball, Mark, that change of play I was talking about.
No, it's not offside. Oh, and Mackay could have put that into his own goal. Well, the flag was up and Celtic stopped. Everyone stopped for a moment.
Well, I'm not sure what happened there. You and I stopped. The Celtic players stopped. Oleg Salenko stopped. Everyone saw the flag. Well, that would have been something that had Rangers scored there.
Well, you feel in these old firm games you're watching history in the making. Every chapter in this particular story is packed with thrills and drama, and a most unusual event there.
Well, let's watch it again as the ball spits. Ian Ferguson plays the ball through now. The only thing I can suggest that Les Mottram has said that it was a deflection off the Celtic player who made the tackle just as Ferguson played it through. But look at Salenko, he stopped. Everyone stopped. Flag went up. How that hasn't got in his own net, well, I don't think Malky Mackay knows.
Well, the linesman, Alistair Hewitt, was overruled by Les Mottram.
I think Les is fortunate, the referee, because that would not have been a good decision.
McNamara. Laudrup. Oh, and Jury nipping in. Flag is up again. And Laudrup's not wasting any time. He's not scored. He wasn't going to hesitate this time, just in case Les Mottram had waved play on again, but he hadn't.
Well, they're holding the line, Celtic. They're taking a chance on this offside. Well, it's working. It's good. Gordon Jury wins the ball. Celtic have got a good line. Laudrup's offside, no doubt there. I always think it's a dangerous policy holding the line that high up the pitch.
Van Hooydonk. Doc went well with him and got a foot in. Robertson. Suspicion of Donnelly jumping in to make the challenge, but Celtic were not called back by a blast on the referee's whistle. Jury. Free kick in Gascoigne's favour. Just to go back to that offside that wasn't given, Andy, did you notice who played the ball forward for Salenko down the left-hand side, inside left
Ian
channel?
Ferguson.
Correct.
From the right-back area.
Correct.
This is what I was saying about he's so keen to get involved in the game. He's taken himself everywhere. Well, you can imagine if Rangers lost possession quickly and Celtic then transferred the ball to this near side.
Petric takes the free kick. Solidly underneath it was Boyd. Collins. He's been such a mainstay of Craig Brown's Scotland team. McStay. Tom's had a lively start to the game, but he couldn't quite reposition them.
The problem that the Celtic midfield three are giving Ian Ferguson is they are 3 against 2 if he stays wide. Paul Gascoigne and Charlie Murrah have Paul McStay, Phil O'Donnell and John Collins to mark. And Ian Ferguson, I think, feels it's his job to tuck in.
Boyd on Robertson. Book is out.
Well, he's let a few go, Les Mottram. I don't think that tackle from Tom Boyd's any worse than any that have gone previously. But, what, 15 minutes into the game, he probably feels, well, now's the time.
Tom Boyd is booked. Solenko has made space for himself, and the danger was recognised just in time by O'Donnell.
Good play from Phil O'Donnell. How important it was that he checked back in.
Free kick given against Goff. Both managers act with great dignity in this football crazy city. Tommy Burns, Celtic through and through. Miller losing out to McStay. Trying to give Gascoigne a taste of his own medicine, and he ran away from Gascoigne, but the Rangers man was aware that Robertson was there to make the challenge.
Just 2 or 3 times though the ball's been played into Charlie Miller with his back to play, and he's been just a little bit slow and getting caught in possession.
Well, these are always tremendous occasions, but the backdrop of that stand on the far side is just adding to it, and the acoustics are splendid. But nothing between the sides at the moment for all the early endeavour. And the tigerishness of the tackling. Ferguson losing out. O'Donnell takes it on. Celtic have got a lot of players forward. And Tom, great stop by Gorham, breaks for Donnelly to play it back in again, or think twice about doing it. And he delayed too long.
Now once again Rangers are grateful to a fine save from the goalkeeper. That was a magnificent stop to what was a flowing Celtic move. Great run from Tom, great ball from O'Donnell after that piercing run. And you thought, this is it, first goal in the match. But Andy Gorham had other ideas.
Goff, but no control in the pass, went straight to McNamara. McStay. McLaren stopping it, getting through to Van Hooydonk. Solenko. Mackay sends it over the top.
Well, it gives you the chance to admire that. Again, O'Donnell makes this run. Now just watch Tom make this run in between players here. Makes a wonderful run, there he goes. And the ball's just about to be slid in through there. He's onside, you can see that quickly. Look how quickly Gorham's off his line. Spreads himself so well. He makes an excellent save.
Gordon Marshall. Pressed by Gordon Jurek. Miller. Celtic throw. It's been precious little Old Firm joy for Celtic so far this season, though they played a full part in that remarkable 3-3 draw in November at Ibrox. In recent times, playing at home hasn't been a great advantage in Old Firm contests. Gascoigne to take the free kick. Rangers again waiting for Richard Goff.
Goff's free! It's offside. Solenko's offside, Mark. The flag's up. He won't be happy with his teammate. Solenko drifted into an offside position. Total lack of concentration. You watch him here. There he goes. He's in the air. He's in that offside position. The flag's up. And I think Solenko's a happy man that Gordon Marshall makes an equally good save from Richard Goff's header. Because I don't think his captain would have been pleased about that. Just not thinking. Is he Ukrainian? What is he, Mark? Solenko, where's he from?
Well, he got his goals for Russia in the World Cup. Petric, playing safe, most famous 5 goals for the World Cup record. Some talk that he might be leaving Rangers, who have a Brazilian on the verge of being signed, Jardel. Reports that Bobby Robson in Portugal is interested in Oleg Solenko, who had a good time in Spain with Valencia. The rain continues to fall, but it is not interrupting the momentum of another mega contest here. 20 minutes gone. But for Andy Gorham, Andreas Thom would have given Celtic the lead. And another Celtic move that originated down their left-hand side. O'Donnell moving infield after Ferguson had a problem to put Thom through. Who's kept Aki Bonner out this season. McStay. Mackay, who started life working in a bank, playing part-time. So they'll be hoping he doesn't have to go back to that profession for a while. Ferguson going with him and fouling him.
And they're still trying to get Tosh McKinley in here, but what Rangers have done, they've called on Gordon Jury to take that responsibility. I don't think Celtic will be too disappointed with that. They'd much rather see Jury in the right back position than up front, popping shots at goal.
Petric brought down O'Donnell. Celtic have a free kick within range of Gorham's goal. Coming up to the halfway mark in the first half. Collins takes it, can't bypass the wall, and the player who gave away the free kick stopped it. Laudrup, he's leaving Celtic in his wake. Brian Laudrup, in the end, under pressure. And not the finish to go with the fantastic ambition in the run.
I thought he was away. When he gets past Boyd, just about the halfway line here, just as he slips, I thought he was going to go away from him. But I have to give Tom Boyd credit. Look at the way he caught up Laudrup. And I think that's what made him take the shot earlier. I think he would have loved to have driven into the box. He should have driven into the box. But he wasn't able to because Tom Boyd was threatening him all the time and made him take the shot earlier than he wanted.
Laudrup's only league goal this season came against Celtic in the 3-3 draw. Recently voted yet again Denmark's footballer of a particular year. He has been saying that he'd like to play in England before his career comes to a conclusion. Referee wasn't fooled. Gascoigne. Not quite enough on it to reach Laudrup. Finley needed again after Boyd's mistake.
Well, he had a ball on Gordon Jury. As soon as he picked it up, Oleg Solenko was trying to have a word with him. He had a great opportunity just to slide him through, straight through the middle. He elected to run with the ball.
One of Celtic's most famous fans, Rod Stewart, of musical fame, who would love to have been a footballer as well, and is still playing the game at his age, and has got his own pitch to play on, presumably his own ball as well.
Quite a few, but it looks like things beforehand.
Getting, if you missed our feature pre-game, getting some coaching from Dean Holdsworth these days. Laudrup. Held off unfairly by McKinley.
That's Brian Laudrup for me. The way somebody fizzes a ball at him, and his control's just instant, and he's past McKinley, and all he can do is haul the Dane back. And no surprise that Les Modstrom reaches for his boot.
Second caution for a Celtic defender. McKinley and Boyd with their names recorded. Free kick earned by Laudrup, taken by Gascoigne. Well, some extravagant bend on it has kept it in after I think Celtic felt that they had been given a reprieve and Gascoigne had put it straight out of play. Coaching staff can get their message across in this din. Beats me. Trying again. Well, his first season, last season, had a happy conclusion. Celtic winning a trophy for the first time for 6 years, the Scottish Cup. Boyd and McKinley got a bit close to each other. Laudrup got too close to the touchline from the Rangers' point of view.
Sorry, Martin. There's as much activity goes on in the touchline in the two dugouts as there is on the pitch. There must be hoarse at the end of that. And for what? You can't hear a damn thing.
Robertson. Well, you've been involved in these games as a player, Andy. Is there any need for managers to speak to the players before the game?
Before the game, not to wind them up, not to get them going. I think there's an example. Walter, I think, has experienced many of these when he was Graham Souness's assistant and now is manager in his own right. I think he realises you can't get any message across. You say all that's got to be said beforehand, and then change one or two things at half-time if need be. But I agreed with the boys in the studio beforehand when he talked about two players that Celtic would miss, John Hughes and Peter Grant. I think they're built for this type of game. They're made for this type of game.
Yes, they're both suspended. This is Miller. Well, on both sides at the moment, the pitch a little bit narrow for the players. But it's hard to find room when players are covering the ground so urgently to make the challenges. McLaren, not the tidiest piece of defending he'll ever come up with. Two Celtic players going for the same ball. Van Hooydonk's header. And Solenko actually got caught by a Celtic leg as the ball was cleared a moment or two ago, taking the wind out of his sails temporarily. Mackay. Collins had to scamper to get there first. McKinley. Static ahead of him for a moment, but they tried to work the left-hand side. They've done it again. Collins back to McKinley. All David Robertson can do is play safe and concede the corner.
Wasn't a bad ball, but this has been the area that's been Celtic's profitable area in the first half. The opening half, this near side, the left side, McKinley and Collins in tandem together. It was super play from John Collins, the way he held off Gascoigne and then just popped a super pass off to Tosh McKinley.
it's saved right on the line from Van Hooijdonk.
Well, I think he was happy that this header just drops. No real power in it, and that's the thing that helps Andy Gorham. Van Hooijdonk goes in, gets the header, but can only just drop it down in front of the goalkeeper. Look at that, look at the amount of contact that's going on there with Petric.
Donnelly. Well, it was a ball that caused Richard Gough all sorts of alarm. He felt he had to play it. Van Hooijdonk was coming in alongside him.
He did have to play it, it's as simple as that. You can't leave this for your goalkeeper. If he did, Van Hooijdonk would have given Celtic the lead.
The side second in the table, pressing the league leaders. Let's not forget the context of this clash. Collins takes. Jury, Solenka. Laudrup, who's got the perfect equipment for the counter-attack. Solenka, and McKinley has to hook it away. It doesn't get very far. Miller. Well, despite that calm air we brought you a few moments ago, Walter Smith could not control his emotions from the higher vantage point.
That was a silly free kick for Tosh McKinley to give away. Ian Ferguson was going nowhere, he had him faced away from his goal, and all he's done is invite pressure on his defence.
Petric settles for the throw. Not totally happy with what he's doing, the Rangers manager. Gough though with a biting flick. Jury. That was a potentially damaging clash. McNamara fell by Mackay, his teammate incidentally.
He wasn't half-felled as well. McNamara's got eyes on the ball. Both have, to be fair, but McNamara's going to head it. Mackay's going to volley it. There's only one winner in winning the ball, and there was only one person going to come off second best, and that was Jackie McNamara.
Well, there are enough ways to get bruised in this match without that happening. It is an exhausting encounter, and that's just when you're watching. Miller. This is McNamara moving well now. That gap again on the right. Gordon Jury spotted it, on the right from Rangers' point of view, on this near side. Ferguson in the centre again. But here's Gascoigne. McLaren. Oh, there was room through the middle. If Miller had actually realised that and let the ball run. It's a gap where Celtic wouldn't have wanted to leave one. Good anticipation by O'Donnell. Another two Celtic players collide. They're trying so hard. It means so much, not just for the local pride that we all know about, but Celtic want to win a championship again. They've not done it since 1988. They've not won the New Year Old Firm derby since 1988. 2 goals from Frank McAvenny 8 years ago.
I think Paul McStay's asking, that tackle's no worse than the one Tom Boyd was booked for. And I think that's what Paul McStay's probably saying to Les Mottram. O'Donnell's always ahead of Ian Ferguson, always winning the ball.
Collins takes. And Hoydon coming in. O'Donnell is there. Knocked away by Miller. To Jury. That was nicely done. Solenko was offside, had the ball got beyond Boyd. Next football for you on Sky Sports, involving the FA Cup this weekend. On Saturday, extended highlights of Manchester United against Sunderland at 6 o'clock. And our live game on Sunday, we start at midday, Derby County against Leeds United, third round of the FA Cup.
I've got a funny feeling this will be a booking.
I don't think there's any escape for David Robertson.
Paul McStay does really well, just nips it past him. Completely fools David Robertson.
It's going on for 4 years ago that Robertson was sent off in an Old Firm clash in the Scottish Cup. But it's yellow, not red here tonight. It's won by Ferguson, helped on by Jury. Petric. They couldn't get there. Pass from Miller, Laudrup against Boyd. Donnelly trying to give him some help, but Boyd didn't need any help. Boyd again. Tom Van Hooijdonk wanting support infield through the centre, and it wasn't quite where Van Hooijdonk played the ball.
Again, that was a pity. It was a great run from Tom Boyd. After taking the ball off of Brian Laudrup, really deep in his own half. He wasn't happy just to pop it off and stop. Carried on with the move.
Rangers have lost sight of Andreas Tom for a moment. Donnelly trying to get it back to Collins. Some tidy play in there by Ferguson.
I think they've been a little unlucky in the last couple of minutes, Celtic. Two good attacks, and the one thing that let them down was just lack of bodies. As Andreas Tom went to cross the ball only, Van Hooijdonk and Donnelly have managed to get themselves in advanced positions. As you see here, as they pop it off, now he's got a great position. But look how many blue shirts compared to green and white. Totally outnumbered. It was always difficult for Tom to pick out someone who would be free.
It in the air, back comes Celtic again, with O'Donnell very conspicuous. Tom. Here's Donnelly. Tom. Well, Celtic, as you would expect, forcing the play. Theirs is the greater need for the extra points tonight.
I think they've had the better of the opening, Celtic. Certainly the possession shows that. But look how deep Gordon Jury is. Who's that heading the ball out from the right back position? It's the Rangers striker. The guy picked the play up front. I think Tommy Burns will be quite happy to see that. So if Gordon Jury's that deep, he ain't going to score a goal. That's a certainty.
McStay has tried to slide it into the centre midfield, where Ian Ferguson is definitely deployed now. And Jury in the right back area again, as Celtic will down the Rangers left, or try to. McLaren across the clear. And Jury's looking at the bench and gesticulating as if he's taking up your point, Andy, as to what am I doing here?
I've every sympathy with him. But it is a problem. It's been a problem I've noticed since the opening minutes. And one that's got to be addressed. They just can't allow them to run free into that. The only other thing you can do is say to Brian Laudrup, you come and play this side and play from there. But I think it's something that they'll certainly be talking about in the dressing room at half-time. There's a big 5 minutes coming up. Celtic have got a good head of steam up, and they'll be anxious to try and nick one in the next 5 minutes. Rangers, on the other hand, will be keen to get a half-time level.
They've been saying about Celtic they don't win the derbies when it really matters. Well, this one really does matter. They're piling in now, and Van Hooijdonk, the object of the Rangers' wrath. Petric on the ground, I think it was, who kicked out.
Well, they're having the right tussle, Van Hooijdonk and Petric, when any cross is coming into the box. Look at Gordon Petric. When he gets a grip of Van Hooijdonk, all the time it's coming in, he's really taking a chance. You can see the wild kick there. I think it's just as well for him that Les Mottram didn't see that. But he's taking a chance because he isn't half getting a grip of Van Hooijdonk's jersey every time the ball's coming in. The referee sees that, well.
Well, he's got a lot of weight and height to throw around Van Hooijdonk. Sometimes you feel he doesn't do that. But here's Solenko trying to run past Boyd, who concedes the corner.
Again, there was a glorious opportunity for him just to roll Charlie Miller in. He broke from midfield. 2 or 3 times when Rangers have had the opportunity to play passes, players have run with the ball.
Well, Rangers have broken free momentarily from the pressure. Gascoigne's corner. Good knock by Tom. Petric, though, gets it back towards Jury. 7 is Miller. Solenko tried to just touch it off to Gascoigne, and he went the other way. And well offside, Van Hooijdonk. Petric. Gascoigne. And it's beautifully done. Can't quite say the same about Ferguson's attempt to play it to Rangers' advantage further forward. 3 minutes plus stoppage time left in the first half.
Rangers have struggled really to make much impact in the last third. The choice of ball or lack of ball has let them down in the first half. Celtic have looked much more dangerous in the attacking thirds.
McNamara nipping in. Tussle with Gascoigne. Fuel the flames of anger in the crowd. Petric and Van Hooijdonk. Well, this is really going to require some action from the referee.
Well, I thought this was the other way. Petric attracts him and then the arm goes out. I think that's the free kick. And there's not an awful lot happens after that. Van Hooijdonk does nothing wrong for me. Petric runs the ball out of play. That's either a free kick or a throw into Celtic. But Rangers get the decision.
And Van Hooijdonk gets the lecture when Petric really looked the culprit, as he was a few minutes ago in the penalty area when he kicked out. There's Mottram, for Scotland's refereeing representative in the last World Cup, of course. Petric takes the free kick. Jury shot.
Yeah, he was never in a position for me to get that shot. Enough power, enough control. It was far too high. Had other options on. But again, the thing that's let Rangers down has been their choice in the last third. As the ball just drops down, it's far too high. Look at the top of the screen. You pick out Solenko, you could have picked out David Robertson. He opted for the most difficult thing. But I suppose in the back of a 4-goal haul in your last game, you are going to take the chance and shoot.
Well, as they line up Rangers at the restart. Ian Ferguson has switched back. Gordon Jury is through the centre again. Of course, one option we haven't mentioned, and is Alec Cleland, the substitute. Could get him on and play him in his natural position. McStay. Now top. He's lost it to Gascoigne. Celtic having to play a bit on the retreat. Hasn't happened too often. They've got the ball again at the free kick as we go into stoppage time. Such a big night as a barometer of Celtic's improvement this season. The league table shows that they are better, but are they good enough to dethrone the champions who have had the title 7 times in a row? Celtic so proud that they're the club who've won it 9 times in succession in the past, in the 60s and 70s. Gascoigne already into the apology, but it's not going to be enough. Well, he's been determined to curb his bookings for dissent, but midfield men are expected to tackle. If you get it wrong these days, you run the risk of getting booked. He has been booked.
Well, I had a lot of sympathy, as most other people, with his booking against Hibs at the weekend, but, well, you can't argue with that one.
Height of Mackay around the edge of the penalty area. Oh, that came back from McLaren, and Gorham was worried about handling it and giving away a free kick. There have been a lot of free kicks in this first half. Rangers think it's been taken. Lavrup thinks it's been retaken. Marshall had to make a save, but it's all irrelevant. It'll have to go back to where the referee is standing.
Quite rightly too. It was taken about 15-20 yards away from the incident. Well, if he's blowing his whistle, Les Mottram, but you're not going to hear it if you're 5 yards away from him, never mind 50. But what about Andy Gorham there when he had to deal with that back pass? What a cool head he showed to take it on his chest and volley it when he was under severe pressure.
Yes, a cool chest and a clear head to recognise the threat. It's 0-0 at half-time. Gorham has played well. Celtic have forced the pace of the game. Plenty of stoppages. But Rangers, the league leaders, haven't conceded a goal to the side standing second at half-time at Celtic Park. It's Celtic 0, Rangers 0.